In 2010, it is getting hotter and hotter, and even in some instances, meaner and meaner. Have you seen the political ads? Pollster Frank Luntz has the hottest political ads tonight, and he knows what you are thinking. Frank joins us live in Los Angeles. Frank, good evening, and what can you tell me about these ads?
Well, I chose 3 special ones for you tonight. You know, we've done about 25 of these sessions across the country. I've already been to 13 states, and there's still 3 months to go. The 3 that I picked kind of break the mold. The first one comes from Nevada, one of the hottest Senate races with Harry Reid. Sharon Angle ran an ad attacking him, and you know that her campaign has been criticized across the country for being ineffective. But let me show you an effective negative ad that works against Harry Reid. Let's watch.
Well, Harry Reid says he does more for Nevada. He's done more for unemployment. We were at 4.4%. Now we're at 14%. He's done more for the foreclosure rate. We have the highest foreclosure rate in the nation. He's done more for bankruptcy. We have the highest bankruptcy rate in the nation. Harry Reid has done more, and it's time for us to say, stop doing it. We can't stand anymore. I'm Sharon Angle, and I approve this message.
Now, you see, the red line represents, and you asked us to take a look at independents, which is what we've done. But we tried to push the independents in a direction, either Republican or Democrat, so we could understand the movement there. That red line represents Republicans, the green line represents Democrats. The goal of any ad is to get your supporters over a 70 and your opponent's supporters over a 50. And that ad does both because Sharon Angle focused on the word more. She took a word from Harry Reid's campaign and turned it. It's called political jiu-jitsu, and it worked in her case, even if her campaign has not been effective so far. The next ad I'm going to show you is from the Illinois governor's race. This is the Democratic incumbent for governor, and yet this ad does better among Republicans than it does among people from its own party. Let's take a look.
The very first time I met Governor Quinn at my son's wake in St. Charles, I had no idea he was coming, and he was all by himself, standing in line.
Yeah, showed up unannounced, but not only our son, Governor Quinn's been at just about every one of our following from Illinois.
He is such a compassionate man.
Down to earth and really honest, caring guy.
The military plays well with anybody, but particularly among Republican voters. And here's a Democratic governor appealing to the base Republican constituency, a very effective ad. And one more winner here. Normally the slash and burn negative ads turn people off. They do have an impact, but they turn people off. This is, without a doubt, one of the best negative ads. It's being run against Congressman Bocheri in Ohio, one of the most vulnerable members. This ad is perfection when it comes to tying the incumbent to what people hate about Washington. Let's take a look.
Many things are wrong in Washington. Washington won't balance the budget. Washington took 3 months to stop an oil leak. Washington won't secure our borders. Washington has grown too big, inefficient, and out of control. Washington won't fix our problems, and John Bocheri is making them worse. Bocheri voted for the cap-and-trade energy tax that could send over 100,000 Ohio jobs overseas. How can we fix government when Congressman Bocheri keeps making things worse? Enough is enough.
Congressman Bocheri better be afraid, because every time that ad airs, he's losing votes. It's effective because it ties him to Washington, D.C. and the issues, cap and trade, the spending, the oil spill, the very things that the American people are fed up with Washington. That's an ad that works.
You know, you mentioned the use of the Angle ad on Senator Reid, which was using the word more and using the word against him more. We used to do it in the courtroom all the time. I've always thought that when President Obama ran in 2008, using the word change, that would be the word that would be the most difficult one come 4 years later, is how the word change would be thrown down his throat, whether people liked him or didn't like him.
Anytime you have the chance to take a word that is so associated with one candidate and turn it against them, it's the equivalent of a flip-flop. It is about as effective as you can get. And you know, Greta, I study language. In those cases, it's not just the language, it's also the visual. To see the flags, to see the mourners in the Pat Quinn ad, and then in the first ad, to actually see Sharon Angle delivering the message. Up until this election cycle, anytime a candidate delivered a negative, they got punished for it. This election cycle, the American people want to see the candidate, want to hear her voice, want to hear what she has to say, and they want you to look straight to camera as you deliver it. They don't want any gimmicks anymore.
You know, Frank, people always say, I hate negative ads, yet they're enormously effective. You know, people deny liking them.
It's one of those things where pollsters have to be very careful. That's one of the reasons why I brought some of the negative ads on for you to see. They don't like them, but they remember the information behind them. And so they'll say, oh, I hated that negative campaign, but I'm not voting for that candidate because he or she supports Washington or supports more spending. Greta, the #1 issue in America today is wasteful Washington spending. And the strongest campaign tactic that the Republicans have against the Democrats is the budget, the deficit, the debt, the stimulus, and most importantly, the bailouts. Mark my words, that word bailout, you're going to be hearing for the next 80 days.
Frank, thank you. Next.
Pleasure. Thank you.